Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to do episode 3 of the Big Blue HoopsCast show. Tuesday nights, we normally do our Big Fuss show. We will probably do that tomorrow night because of the election. John and I are here to do a kind of a short version of the Big Blue HoopsCast. We had two games last night. Both men's and women's played last night. I was at the women's game. John got to watch the men's game. So we are going to do a little short version here for both of those. What's up, Ammons?
What's up, man? What's happening?
So the Big Blues basketball season got started last night. Both got big, large wins. And we'll kind of jump to that and get to that here. If you're following us on Facebook, you can help support us by sending stars, or you can subscribe to our page for 99 cents a month. It does help us continue to make more content for you guys. What's up? It does look like we got a good following here so far. What's up, Chris? Glad to have you with us. John, did you get to catch any of the women's game last night?
No, I did not. Now, I saw some highlights. Clara Stack had a really good game last night. Georgia Moore done what she did. I'll kind of let you go through this and kind of talk about it because you was there. But that was a really good win for them. To get the season started out on the right foot. But I will say I watched a little bit of, highlights from WYMT, and they were showing Georgia Moore, and she was – a lot of times she would be going to the bench to talk to Kenny Brooks. And to me, that shows you what kind of leader she truly is. And
she does it. She does it almost at every opportunity that she gets. When play stops, like free throws and stuff like that, she is always going over the coach. Because they've been together. This is the 5th year they've been together.
Yeah.
So
it shows us just what kind of leader she is and whatnot. And I think Coach Brooks is going to have a fun team this year. They really do a lot of things with their bigs in the middle. And that's what I like. They do a little outside, inside stuff. And I'm telling you, man,
it's going to be so much fun.
If you've not watched Clara Stack play ball, boy, you need to tune in because that girl can play.
She's a treat, man. I'm not kidding. So I'm going to get things started, kicked off here. Kentucky women's basketball last night kicked off their season playing South Carolina Upstate, the Spartans, and they got a big win. They were up 47-18 at halftime, and extended that lead even further out in the second half and pulled away 98-43. So I'm here to tell you, this girls' team can score points. They were 2 points shy of the 100 mark, and that says something, for a women's team, to be honest.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Yeah, and they held South Carolina Upstate to 43 points. And just for the record, I want to give this South Carolina Upstate team a little bit of credit. They play in the Big South. Time ever last year, they went to the WNIT. So they have a third-year head coach. His name is Jason Williams. So he is built. Okay, could you hear me?
No, you're breaking up really, really bad.
Easily nearly 60% of the votes
Okay. Keep going. All right, maybe I got it worked for now. I don't know. I did try to upgrade to 1080 Pi tonight just to try it and see if it would work or not on the cameras. So if it doesn't, I'll go back down to 720. I apologize if we have some issues tonight, but I did try to upgrade and have a little better visual for you guys. So we'll see if it works. If it don't,
it's working now.
Okay, I did try to upgrade. So, all right. So we're going to start out with Clara Strack. That's what we're going to talk about. I mean, Clara Strack led the way with 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 block shots, and to be honest with you, the only shots she missed all night long were 3-pointers. She was 7 out of 11. She was 8 out of 9 from the free throw line. She has all the bigs have this step back that they use. She played extremely well. She may be a leader in points for this team, John.
And you would probably think that Georgia Moore would lead the team in points, just from where she was the All-American point guard last year, at Virginia Tech. So,
yep. I mean, she averaged almost 19 points a year last year, but Georgia Strack has come a long way. She's a sophomore. She's 6'5", and she has touch, and all these bigs do. We're going to kind of go through them, but all these bigs have really, really nice touch. The girls did win, John Robinson. I have the score up. Well, I did have the score up. They won 98-43. There's the score of the girls' game, 98-43. They won big. The starters, John, was Georgia Amore, Deja Lawrence, Amelia, Tayani Key, and Clara Strack. That was the starters last night for the game. I think that'll be the starters for a little while. Clara Silva might have something to say before it's done about the starters. But all of these girls look good, John, to be honest with
you. They impressed last night.
So Amelia Hassett is a junior college transfer, and Tayani Key is a junior transfer from North Carolina. This was both their first starts last night. And I'm going to be honest with you, John, I was impressed by both of them. Tayani Key had 14 points and 9 rebounds. Amelia Hassett had 14 points, 9 rebounds, hit 4 3-pointers. She's 6'3", guys, which is huge for a girl, and she is busting them from outside. And Clara Silva from Portugal, a freshman who's 18 years old, come off the bench, her first action in this country, 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 blocks last night. She's 6'7". I don't know. Did I say that? She's 6'7".
The thing about Kenny Brooks too is he really likes to go with size. Now he likes his guards, but he likes to
inside out.
He wants to use his big girls in the middle, and I think that's going to help them.
He does. He likes to play inside out. And to be honest with you, I think he likes to use these bigs, hit a few shots, make them change their defense and like double team. And then when the double team come, he wants to pass it out to the shooters.
Now, there was only
wide open shots.
There was only one thing I hated about the girls' situation last night, girls' game, is they stuck it right between the time the men's play, which kind of the crowd.
I can talk about that. So Kenny Brooks in the post-game press conference said that they had trouble getting a team that would agree to play them, to be honest with you. A lot of the teams that were on the schedule kind of backed out because they thought they were going to get to play the old Kentucky. and not with all this size, 6'4", 6'5", 6'7", and he had a hard time getting a team to play them. And South Carolina Upstate was willing to come play them, and they had to work out a time. And it just so happened this was one of the nights, the only night that they had for an open. They didn't want to play the same night as the guys. It just kind of worked out that way. So, but Clara Silva, I got to add, you talk about somebody with touch. Her very first collegiate game, she's 18 years old, from Portugal. She's only been here 6 weeks, okay? 6-7 weeks. She was 6 of 6 from the floor, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, had 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 blocks. Perfect from the floor in her very first outing.
Mike brings up a good question. After they were already scheduled, how can teams back out?
I'm not real sure. I mean, nobody really got to ask questions about that. It was kind of towards the end of the press conference. But if you watch Kenny Brooks's press conference last night, I posted it on our Facebook page earlier today, the full press conference. It's towards the end of that. He talks about teams playing and that they had a hard time scheduling for this first game for them. So, but Mike, you can look at it if you'd like. But yes, I agree with you. But that's why they played on the same night. The girls didn't like it either because the crowd's affected because everybody's at Rupp. So, the girls didn't like it either.
It kind of knocks the girls' situation down because they're wanting some fans over there, and you got a mixture of fans.
It does. It affects, and the girls realize that. Kenny Brooks realizes it too, and they're going to try, for sure, in the future to keep that from happening too many times if they can.
I think that's pretty
Clara
amazing,
Silva and Cass.
I just think that's pretty amazing that you got teams not willing to come to play them. That's insane to me.
Kenny Brooks his quote was that people wanted to play the old Kentucky. That was the quote. You can watch the press conference. It's on our Facebook page.
This ain't old Kentucky, baby. I can tell you.
Yeah.
This is a new regime.
Yep.
A new leadership. I think the culture is really good here. And I think beyond this year, Georgia Moore is probably going to be gone next year. They're recruiting really well.
She's a 5th year. Yeah.
They're recruiting really well. They're in some top 5s for some people, some kids. And I think the recruiting is going to be really good under Coach Brooks. You just want to have to give him time.
Recruiting-wise, I think what's going to happen is they're going to wait and kind of see what happens on the floor here in this first season. And if they continue to play like they did last night and look like that on the inside and shooting and what they did last night, I think they're in for picking up some very good kids, to be honest.
They're going to get some players.
So Clara Silva and Cassidy Rowe was the first 2 off the bench. They pretty much played the entire first half, and then they built up a lead, and he started playing some more down the bench after halftime, basically. And everybody got to come in. Everybody got to play. It was such a big win. Everybody got to come in. Everybody got to play. But I did want to talk a little bit about Clara Silva and Cassidy Rowe just a little bit. But like I said, those are the first 2. Cassidy Rowe is from Jersey, Kentucky. She is the Kentucky player on this team. She is a junior now, and she carries that, that love and that weight of being a Kentucky kid, from the state of Kentucky on this team. And she come in last night. She kind of backs up Georgia Amore. They did play together a little bit, but she is kind of the main backup point guard on this team. And she's going to get a lot of minutes on this team going forward. Cassidy is. So I wanted to talk about her just a little bit. All right, John, I have a couple of highlights here that I wanted to show you. This is Georgia Amore, and I got these off of Kentucky women's basketball Twitter page. This is the official Kentucky athletic stuff here, so I want to make sure that I point that out. But this is Georgia Amore with a very nice dime and dish to 6'7" Clara Silva, and a great finish by her on the left side of the basket.
Amore spins it over the top. Oh, really nice pass there.
What set that up was that beautiful hesitation by Georgia Amore.
So there you got to see a dime by Georgia Amore. She had 10 assists last night. She had a double-double, 11 points, 10 assists. That was one of them. That was a pretty pass, John. You must be muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, I said it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful pass.
So, yeah, she drew the defense right down the lane. Nice drop off. Clara Silva, that was one of her baskets. And then I've got one here. I want to show you. This is Tayani Key, pretty much going coast to coast. If you look above John's head, she is the one that's to the middle, not in the middle. That's Clara Silva, but the one next to her. She's 6'4", pretty good size for a female, and she gets this off of a steal and goes coast to coast for the N1.
To Jenny Levine. That one knocked away. And here comes Key. Key splits defenders, puts it in, and she'll go to the free throw line again.
Okay, so this is a prime example of what Kenny Brooks wants out of this offense.
So as you look at the screening, that's what you'll be seeing throughout.
All right, guys. So that, like I said, that was Tayani Key. She's a junior transfer from North Carolina. She is probably from last year. She's probably the most approved player on this team, I would think. She was a top 10 recruit. She was the number 9 overall recruit in her class, but she's went through some injuries. And she blew out a knee, I think, and she's went through some injuries. She's never really been healthy. She transfers over to Kentucky, and she really seems to be blossoming, John. Key does.
Fun supporting cast that Coach Kenny Brooks has got here. And I say, you know, as they get more time together and they get going in non-con and SEC, I think you're going to see this team get better and better each week. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if this is a Sweet 16 team. I mean, I know they played a South Carolina Upstate. They're not the greatest team, but in the past couple of years, we've struggled with teams like this. And last night they put this team away, and that shows you the
early.
resolve.
And then they kept on still extending the lead. When they had a 40-point lead after 3 quarters and wound up winning by 55. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I mean, like
it's
a whole new group. It's a I think, you know, better supporting cast around them. Not to hate on the old coach. She was just put in a bad position, I think. She was kind of thrown into a tough situation in which she done good. She won the SEC championship. She took them and beat South Carolina. I mean, you got to give her flowers too.
2022.
In 2022. Yep. So I think this is just a new culture they're getting built around them. And I think the more they play together, the better they're going to be. And what can you say about Georgia Moore? I mean, the way she runs the floor, the way she passes the ball, the way she handles the ball, she just makes everybody around her better. And
she is a true point guard. So I'm going to give you guys just a little bit of a tidbit here on the way Georgia played last night. Early in this game, she was the leading scorer. She had her 11 points in this game with over 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. She kind of helped this team get out in front of the Spartans Upstate last night, and they got like a 20-point lead about halfway through the second quarter. And then she spent the rest of the night dishing to her teammates and leading and getting them open and dropping off passes like we just seen to Clara Silva and to shooters. Amelia Hassett, she got a couple assists from, at the three-point line and stuff. And she really facilitated the rest of her teammates the rest of the game. She didn't score another point after about 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And then after the game, she talked about that at the beginning of the season that she usually tries to have more assists, and then after about 7 or 8 games, after she kind of gets a feel of her teammates and gets them open and gets them going, then her scoring will probably come up and rise a little bit. So I thought that was nice. That was also in the post-game press conference that I posted this morning as well. But I have one last highlight here for the girls, and I want to show this to you guys. This is a little bit special. It's got a freshman that comes in and scores a basket. It's got a splash three by Amelia Hassett in it. And then towards the end, you will see Kenny Brooks get his bourbon barrel lid for his first win at Kentucky. They did the same thing last night. Mitch did for Mark Pope, but this is for the girls.
Coach Kenny Brooks on win #1 here in Lexington.
All right, guys, just like they did for Mark Pope last night. They Mitch Barnhart was there for him with the commemorating his first win at Kentucky. And you got to see Amelia Hassett, who is 6'3". She's right above John's head in the picture there. You can see her. And she is a great shooter. She shot 40% in junior college last year down in Florida. And she's coming in as one of the best shooters on this team. Hit 4 threes last night, 14 points and 9 rebounds from the guard wing spot. But she's 6'3". So I'm 6'2.5". She's a smidget taller than I am, John. I'm not short.
No.
I'm not short. So, all right, the next game for the girls play Thursday night. They play Northern Kentucky at historical Memorial Coliseum. Historic Memorial Coliseum. If you're in around Lexington, please go out and support these girls. They're going to have a great year, a great season, great team. And I think you can get general admission seats for $15. So it's not super expensive. So I think you can get general admission seats for $15. Go out and support the girls. They deserve it, and they're going to have a good year.
They'll probably keep him a long time. If he continues to do what he's doing here, and build this program and recruit this program, He's been to a Final Four. He knows how to get the girls to play together. He knows how to recruit. He's been in a really good conference, the ACC, with Duke, North Carolina, Florida State. So he knows how to handle the pressure, and I think he'll do really well here at Kentucky.
I agree. It's going to be a fun season. Like I said, they play Thursday night. And from there, John, we are going to switch and go to the men. The men played 2 hours later.
They most likely could. He asked, do you think another team will try to steal him? I mean, in this day and age, it's going to happen. But it's all where your loyalties lie, I guess you could say.
I think if he does good, I think somebody will. But I'm going to be honest with you. He's only coached at 2 places in 22 years. This is his 23rd season.
He's probably
and people have come after him before. He's 55 years old. He might have turned 56 by now, but he's 55 back in March when he got hired. And I would venture to say he's here to build this program to a national stage and maybe walk away by the time he's 65 or something. I mean, I'm just guessing. But, I mean, he's at that stage where I think he's trying to build a legacy.
Yes,
so that'd be my guess. All right, John, we're going to move on to the men. I was in Lexington last night, but I was over at Memorial and writing a story and doing some post-game stuff and the press conferences and stuff when the men were playing last night. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I did not get to watch much of the game last night for the men. So I'm going to let John talk about the men here. I know they won 103-62 versus Wright State last night.
They did, and the biggest takeaway in this game was, they had 11 threes. They had 30 assists. Mark Pope said when he came to Lexington that he was going to modernize this offense and change it up. And we saw a glimpse of that last night. It was Kobe Brea, Otiga Oweh, Lamont Butler had a good game. Here's the thing about Kentucky that really gets me. Kentucky has shown they can hammer inferior opponents in the paint when they're forced, when they're focused on taking away the three-point shot. And I think that's a big thing because last year, there were some different areas in the team that kind of got lost in that regard. They only had 14 free throws. In a game that was projected to have it was under 20 points, and they steamrolled this team. My biggest takeaway
wasn't the over-under 161?
Yeah,
for the two teams?
Something like that. 162, 100. I can't remember.
I think they got it though. 103-62. They hit the over.
I'm going to tell you who my player of the game was. Everybody wants to look at Otiga Oweh. I think he played good. I thought Kobe Brea played good. But mine was Amari Williams. He's a force on the glass. And his versatility can be where he may get a triple-double this year with how he passes the ball.
Yeah, he can bring the ball up the floor.
He's a double-double watch almost all every night. Listen, I tell people this all the time. Everybody, got on DeCal about the stall ball, the holding the ball when the shot clocks. That's not happening with Pope. Because if you watched last night's game, first half they went on a big run, got up 20 points, and they put the pedal down. They didn't let up. They just kept going.
Right.
And in which I thought going into this game that Wright State had a decent offense from a year ago. I mean, they was in the top for scoring. They had one of the Horizon League Player of the Years playing for them, and Kentucky just dispatched them really quick. And
John, I want to ask you about Amari Williams. I got to watch the press conference the other day that they had a pregame press conference like last Thursday or Friday for this. And he was asked about Amari, and he said Amari was going to be out for a day or two, and he was going to be a game time decision, basically. So was anything brought up? I know he was a starter and he played and looked like he played really good, but was anything said pregame about his injury or a question mark or anything?
What I listened to with Tom Leach on the college or the pregame show, he just said that he was ready to go. Pope said he had got things fixed to where he could play, and he let him go. So that was our first. I guess I laugh about this, but it's the truth. We didn't have a healthy team at all last year, and we already got a healthy team.
Not just last year. The last 3 or 4 years, it's been that way. And when somebody tweaked a little something, they were usually out for a while. You know,
yeah, I mean, it was
so.
I will say this. We just mentioned Kobe Brea too. He found his groove last night. He had 18 points on 7 of 8 shooting. When he gets more shots up like he did last night, he's as dangerous as anyone on this roster. And I say this because you got Otiga Oweh, you got Kobe Brea, you got Amari Williams with his ball handling skills. You got you can't leave Lamont Butler open. He hit 3 last night. Like Lamont Butler's not the biggest 3-point shooter, but he's going to hit some every once in a while.
Didn't Butler have 14?
He did. He really helped out on the defensive end. And I say this because, and I know there's a lot more guys out there on the defensive front that are probably pretty good, but I think he's the best on-ball defender in the country when it comes to stripping balls, getting in the passing lanes. I think his motor and the way this team runs is going to be special, and it's going to continue to get better. That was the first time in a long time, Brad, and I'm going to say this, that I was hoping Kentucky played again tonight. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's
my man, and I've been saying this. I got to go to the blue-white game, and I've been saying this ever since I went to the blue-white game. And every time I type his name, it puts an R in it, and it makes me so mad. I did not put an R in his name, but it puts it in there for me every time. It makes me so mad. Y'all have no idea of the trouble I get when just trying to type stuff out because it does it on its own. And then I noticed that the stupid R's in there. Otiga Oweh is one of my favorite players. I've been saying since I went to the blue-white game, I think he's going to be one of the top 2 or 3 players on this team. He has to be out there. His defense is excellent. He had 3 steals last night as well. And on top of that, he can drive and finish through contact. He led the team last night, John, 21 points. I'm really impressed by Otiga Oweh.
And I'll say this, I know everybody's going to think, well, it was just Wright State. But they was doing this all summer. And even in the exhibit, there's a different vibe here in Lexington with Mark Pope's team. Listen, if they're the 8th best team in the SEC,
100%.
If they're the 8th best team in the SEC where they was predicted, I'd like to see the other 7.
Well, we will.
I mean,
Alabama, listen, Alabama's really good.
They are. And I would, I'm going to tell you
What
a
they
play
have
that
last
really.
night, 117 or something.
I'm going to tell you a play that really got my oats up in an uproar. So they was coming down the court. I think it might have been the second half. Might have been. I can't remember. It might have been the first half, second half. Kerr Krissa made a move, and he had a wide open layup, and he did a behind the back or like outside pass to Kobe Brea or maybe Otiga Oweh, and he shot the three. And then there was another play where Amari Williams was cutting to the basket, and Otiga Oweh was going down the lane, and he just handed it to him, and he dunked it with one hand. Like, that was right out of the gate. And the way they play offense is so unselfish. They play together.
So, John, I do have a couple of highlights. I think I have one of those highlights. Now, I didn't get as many. I'm kind of timid. I am credentialed to do the women's. So, and I can use a lot of the women's stuff, including this picture that you see behind us here. This is the official team picture for the women's basketball. And because I'm official, credentialed media for them, I can do all that. I'm not yet for the men's. So I'm not 100% sure that I can do this without getting some hits. Some dings. But I do have a couple of highlights here that I pulled, a couple of plays that I really, really liked. One of them is that Amari Williams to Oweh dunk.
Kentucky chance to push. Oweh all alone. Man, the value of a big that can board and bring it on full display early for Kentucky. Three ball left short. Oweh has the rebound. He's been all over the place for the Cats so far. Andrew Carr gives it up. Williams, nobody stops him. A left hand.
You can see, it's the change.
That's impressive.
All right. that was one of them that I got. And then the other one that I got, John, this is a really, really sweet move by Lamont Butler. I just seen this in the highlights. It was impressive to me. A spin move down the lane by Lamont Butler.
Butler, beautiful spin. The Butler did it, huh? Did he not?
I mean,
Just impressive, man.
there's so many guys on this team that can hurt you with the three ball. You know that it's going good when Jackson Robinson is having a night off. Jackson Robinson didn't really. I mean, he hit some shots early, but
he had 2 threes and a dunk, I believe. He had 8 points, I think, is all he had.
I mean, it was just, a different guy is going to lead this team every night. And I want to go and say this. If this is, I'm going to be like Torres. What's the guy's name? The Torres guy. He's on Twitter. You know who I'm talking about. He does. I can't think of his name.
I don't know.
Ain't that bad.
Well, just say what
he's
you were going to say.
But anyways, he posted something last night. He said, if this is the 23rd best team in the country, then the SEC is going to be deep.
It's the greatest season. It's the greatest season in college basketball ever.
Yeah. You remember the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I did see something on that.
And Mike, I want to share those same sentiments, but I want to see.
We're only about a week away, Mike, but we'll see.
I'll say this much.
It is a week.
I'm not going to predict we'll beat Duke, but I'll tell you, if Kentucky goes into Madison Square Garden and they beat Duke, oh boy, the haters are going to be mad. I can already tell you.
I'll tell you what I'll say, Mike.
Their demise.
Here's what I say about us and Duke. it's going to be really nice to be in a different position against a team like Duke. We have experience. We have 586 starts on this team. To have people back that, I mean, not and have that experience. And Duke don't have very many. They have a bunch of freshmen. And it's going to be really nice to be in that position because we haven't been in a long, long time. So that's what I'll say about Duke.
Aaron Torres is who it was. He said no one will give them credit until they play Duke next week. But if Kentucky is the 23rd best team in college basketball, as the polls indicate, then this is the best college hoop season in the history of the sport. Team has all sorts of dudes who can get buckets. And I'm going to say
and Pope said so. I don't know if you've seen his post game in the locker room, but he basically told the team, if you're okay with a different guy stepping up every single night and being somebody different and playing that way and being okay with that, this team can be special. If you're not, then we may not. But if you're okay with that, this team can be special. Is basically what he told.
And I'll say this much: everybody was looking when Pope got hired. This whole off season in the summer, everybody was saying, "Oh, the demise of Kentucky is at hand." Well, if Kentucky goes into Madison Square Garden next week and beats Duke, they'll be changing their little tune bucket very, very quick.
Madeline, I love having you on, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm not saying I'm a little superstitious when it comes to stuff. So I don't, I'm not going to cross that for a while, to be honest with you. It's way too early in the season.
You know what's going to be fun for me?
Like that. For me.
What's going to be fun for me is seeing Kentucky, their experience, go up against a team that like Duke that has a bunch of freshmen, and how does those freshmen handle that spot? You know what I mean? Like,
okay, Madeline, I will.
Overall, great night. Kentucky does return to action Saturday. They play Bucknell at 4:00. Bucknell beat Delaware last night. I watched a little bit of it. So don't really know what to expect from Bucknell. Bucknell has been they've been in the tournament a couple of times. They did beat Kansas one year in the tournament. I do know that.
Yeah. But that's been a long time ago. So I don't know anything about this team, to be honest.
I don't really know a lot, but I know Pope will have them ready to go. There's a lot of good games on Saturday. There's a lot of football and a lot of basketball. So, and by the way, the top 12 for the college football rankings came out just now. I just wanted you to know. So.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up and probably tweet about it or post it on Facebook and that kind of stuff.
Indiana made it, though. I just wanted you to know.
But they should.
Yeah.
They should. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. It's election night, and I know we're not going to do our main show that we normally do.
Election night, Brad. Get pumped, man. Get pumped, Brad. Election night.
I'll be so glad when it's over. That's all I can tell you. You have no idea. No idea.
I know. Trust me.
You have no idea. All right, Madeline. I got you. I'm going to hold you to it. All right, you guys. It's been fun.
Brett,
this has been
by the way,
SportsCast.
I don't know who you're voting for. You're voting for Miami officials to crank them into the top 12, ain't you? Oh, goodness.
This has been the Big Blue HoopsCast with College SportsCast, and we plan on doing these on Monday nights, but this week the games were on Monday night. Most of the time, the men's or women's usually don't play too many Monday night games. So hopefully for the rest of the season, we plan on doing these on Monday nights and then going back to our Tuesday night for the Big Fuss Show. So we will see you guys. I think we're going to try to do the Big Fuss Show tomorrow night and do it a night later than we normally do. So we will see you guys tomorrow night for the Big Fuss Show, and we are glad you have been with us. Y'all have a good night, and pray for this election to be over by in the morning.